Hi everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. This is Nilay Kumar, and in Constitution Law series, today we'll be studying is judiciary state under Article 12. So let's start. Now, as you all know, we have studied in the previous video, Article 12, and वहाँ पे हमें क्या क्या authorities given थी. Let's revise first. Parliament of India and the Government of India, right? State legislatures and your state government, local authorities, right? Local authorities, and the fourth one was, of course, we can't forget this, other authorities. We spend an entire video on trying to understand what other authorities mean, right? Now, if you see, there are three organs of state. There are three organs of state. What are the three organs? Executive, containing of your government, legislature, and your judiciary, right? So judiciary is also an organ of the state, but if you see, only executive and legislature have been specifically mentioned in Article 12. There is no mention of judiciary, that is the third organ of the state, right? Now what does this actually tell us? This tells us that the constitution makers did not intend to include judiciary under Article 12, right? They did not intend to do so. Okay, so therefore judiciary is not mentioned, unlike executive and legislature. However, there is a situation, okay? There is a situation where judiciary can be included within the ambit of Article 12. But to understand that, we need to understand that judiciary has two kinds of powers, right? First is your judicial powers. This is general, that is adjudication over matters. Adjudicating over matters का मतलब क्या हो गया? Resolving the disputes, deciding disputes, right? Making issues and solving them, right? Forming of issues and solving them. Then you have non-judicial और administrative powers. इसमें बेसिकली क्या होता है, जैसे सुप्रीम कोर्ट के पास कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन में गिवन है दैट सुप्रीम कोर्ट कैन मेक इट्स ओन रूल्स रिगार्डिंग द कंडक्ट ऑफ द सुप्रीम कोर्ट, right? So they have by this article they have made the Supreme Court rules of 2013. Now Supreme Court rules 2013 में given होता है कि कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल बेंच अगर बैठेगी तो उसका क्या प्रोसीजर होगा, अगर आपके पास कोई क्यूरेटिव पिटिशन आ रही है तो उसका क्या प्रोसीजर होगा, रिव्यू पिटिशन आ रही है तो उसका क्या प्रोसीजर होगा. इस तरीके के कंडक्ट के बारे में सुप्रीम कोर्ट रूल्स 2013 में गिवन है. मान लो इसमें से ऐसा कोई एक रूल होता है विच इज़ वायलेटिव ऑफ योर फंडामेंटल राइट्स कंटेन्ड इन पार्ट 3 ऑफ द कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन, राइट? सो इन दैट केस यू कैन चैलेंज देम as violation of fundamental rights and invoke, right? And you can invoke the writ jurisdictions of either the Supreme Court under Article 32 or High Court under Article 226, right? So जब भी सुप्रीम कोर्ट या कोई भी कोर्ट अपना नॉन जुडिशियल या एडमिनिस्ट्रेटिव पावर एक्सरसाइज कर रहा होता है एंड देन इट इज़ फाउंड, देन यू फील लाइक दैट इट इज़ वायलेटिव ऑफ योर फंडामेंटल राइट्स, ओनली देन यू कैन एक्चुअली चैलेंज दोज डिसीजंस, राइट? अब जैसे अपॉइंटमेंट को ले लो, अपॉइंटमेंट ऑफ जुडिशियल ऑफिसर्स, ये जो हमारा जुडिशरी के एग्जाम्स होते हैं, हाई कोर्ट निकालते हैं. जैसे हायर जुडिशरी होता है तो हाई कोर्ट निकालता है जुडिशरी एग्जाम्स के लिए, ठीक है? दैट वी नीड let's say 12 positions are empty for sessions court or 12 positions are empty, we need judges, we need magistrates. सो उन्होंने क्या किया, उन्होंने एक एग्जामिनेशन नोटिफिकेशन निकाला। मान लो अब उस एग्जामिनेशन नोटिफिकेशन में उन्होंने एक कंडीशन डाल दी एलिजिबिलिटी में, दैट द कैंडिडेट मस्ट बी हिंदू सिख जैन और बुद्धिस्ट ओनली, right? Now this is straight away violation of article 14 and 16, right? So this is violation of your fundamental rights. Now this is something that you can actually challenge it by invoking writ jurisdiction of the courts, because this is a administrative decision that has been taken. So every court, every judiciary, I mean every judge has both judicial powers and administrative powers. The only key here is when the judge is exercising judicial powers, you cannot challenge them by invoking writ jurisdiction and claiming that your fundamental rights have been violated. The remedy there for you is appeal or review of that judgment. And when a judge is exercising his or her administrative powers, then in that case you can invoke writ jurisdiction and claim that your fundamental rights under part 3 have been violated, right? Now also there is an addition to this. Tribunals have a different kind of story here. Tribunals or any other quasi judicial body, right, when they give you any determination or order or any decision, you can challenge them by invoking writ jurisdiction, claiming violation of fundamental rights. But in that case also there is limited ground. In fact, there is only one ground on which you can challenge them, that is that body, that quasi judicial body or the tribunal did not have the jurisdiction to adjudicate over the matter. This is the only condition on which you can invoke writ jurisdiction, challenging any decision of tribunals or quasi judicial bodies. I hope we are clear here. Okay, so let us now move on to a case law to understand this better. Right, we have Naresh Sridhar Mirachkar versus State of Maharashtra. It's the 1966 Supreme Court judgment. In this case, the issue was whether a judicial order passed by the High Court prohibiting the publication in newspapers of evidence given by a witness pending the hearing of the suit is amenable to be corrected by a writ of certiorari issued by the Supreme Court under Article 32, Clause 2. Right. So what happened was, this Naresh Sridhar Mirachkar was a journalist and he was he was reporting a ongoing case in the High Court, right, in the Bombay High Court. Now what happened, the High Court, whatever reason they have given in the order, the High Court passed an order that until and unless this case is finally decided, any newspaper agency or any media will not publish anything regarding the evidences that have been given by the witnesses in this case pending the hearing of the suit. Okay. So now what happened, this Naresh Sridhar Mirachkar approached the Supreme Court by invoking Article 32 jurisdiction, that is your writ jurisdiction, and he claimed that his fundamental right under Article 19 clause 1 was being violated, right? Now let's see what the Supreme Court held here. The Supreme Court held that the argument that the impugned order of the High Court, impugned order कौन सा है? The impugned order is that prohibiting the publication in newspapers, right? This is the impugned order. Impugned order का मतलब होता है जो order आप challenge कर रहे हो, right? The Supreme Court held that the argument that the impugned order affects the fundamental rights of the petitioner under Article 19 Clause 1 is based on a complete misconception about the true nature and character of judicial process and judicial decisions. It is singularly inappropriate to assume that a judicial decision pronounced by a judge of competent jurisdiction in or in relation to a matter brought before him for adjudication can affect the fundamental rights of the citizen under Article 19 Clause 1. So basically the Supreme Court is saying that a judicial decision pronounced by a judge cannot be challenged before the Supreme Court, right, by invoking writ jurisdiction under Article 32, ठीक है, and neither before a High Court under Article 226 as well. right? This is what the Supreme Court has said here. The remedy against judicial orders or judgments, that is, the remedy you have against when the judge is exercising his or her judicial powers, is to either file a review petition or an appeal to the appropriate court, but not a writ petition, right? The Supreme Court has also observed here that just an order, I'm reading it from the judgment directly here, just as an order passed by the court on the merits of the dispute before it can be challenged only in appeal and cannot be said to contravene the fundamental rights of the litigants before the court, so could the impugned order be challenged in appeal under Article 136 of the Constitution. But it cannot be said to affect the fundamental rights of the petitioners. Right? So I hope we are clear with this judgment. This is a landmark judgment when we talk about judiciary under Article 12. Let us move on to the next judgment. Rupa Ashok Hurra versus Ashok Hurra. This is the 2002 Supreme Court 5-judge bench. That is a constitutional bench judgment. Please remember this. It's a constitutional bench judgment. Now, in this petition, in this case, a new concept was given, that is curative petitions. A new remedy was formed by the Supreme Court, right? Now, first understand that whenever you approach a Supreme Court, you approach it either in the original jurisdiction, although it's not possible to approach as a private party in Supreme Court in its original jurisdiction. It is only the state governments and the union governments who can approach the Supreme Court in their original jurisdictions. You can approach the Supreme Court by way of an appeal or by way of an SLP under Article 136, right? Once your appeal or SLP has been dismissed, what is the next remedy you have? You have the remedy of review. Now, before Rupa Ashok Hurra versus Ashok Hurra case, this was the last option, this was the last remedy that you had, and after this you had no remedy. So if your review petition has also been dismissed, you have no other option but to accept the judgment of the Supreme Court, right? But in this case, the constitutional bench formed another remedy that is known as curative petition. Remember that review petitions before Supreme Court can only be challenged on very limited grounds, such as error on the face of it, right? Prima facie error आपको कोई दिख रहा है, or there is violation of some of any principles of natural justice. These are the only very limited grounds on which a review petition can be filed. Similarly, curative petitions are filed on only these 3 grounds mentioned here: violation of PNJ, that is principles of natural justice, question of bias against the presiding judge, and abuse of the process of the court. Even though the Supreme Court has said that these grounds are not exhaustive in nature. Not exhaustive मतलब सिर्फ यही 3 ग्राउंड जरूरी नहीं है कि आप क्लेम करो, आप कोई और भी ग्राउंड क्लेम कर सकते हो. But the Supreme Court has cautioned that even though these grounds are not exhaustive, the court, that is the Supreme Court, should consider such petitions only in rare circumstances to prevent frivolous litigation, right? So we have curative petition as the new remedy after review petition has been dismissed. Now let's move on to the discussion why judiciary should not be included under Article 12. I have given you 3 reasons why it should not be included. Okay. The first reason is the courts cannot exercise their judicial functions freely unless their decisions are excluded from the attack of writ jurisdiction. कहने का मतलब यहाँ पे ये है कि अगर कोर्ट्स के ऊपर, जजेस के ऊपर हमेशा ये तलवार लटकी रहेगी. देखो, एक तलवार तो ऑलरेडी लटकती है उनके ऊपर कि अगर उन्होंने गलत डिसीजन दिया तो उनका डिसीजन अपील में जाएगा या फिर रिव्यू में जाएगा. ठीक है, ऑल्दो दैट डजंट रियली मैटर, बट इट अफेक्ट्स देयर प्रोफाइल इन सम वे और द अदर. अगर कुछ इनहेरेंटली उन्होंने कोई गलत जजमेंट दे दिया और उसके ऊपर अपील जाती है और बहुत ज़्यादा पब्लिक मीडिया में वो आइज़ में आ जाता है, उनके बहुत ज़्यादा मीडिया में फैल जाती है वो बात, देन इट एक्चुअली अफेक्ट्स देयर प्रोफाइल एंड इट कैन क्रिएट अ प्रॉब्लम फॉर देम इन देयर प्रमोशन. तो एक तलवार ही इनके ऊपर ऑलरेडी लटक रही है कि कुछ ऐसा भारी मिस्टेक ना कर दें ये लोग, जिसके कारण इनका प्रोफाइल पे, इनके सीवी पे असर आ जाए। अब दूसरी तलवार भी अगर लटकने लगेगी आर्टिकल 12 के कारण, अगर आर्टिकल 12 में ले आते हैं तो रिट जुरिस्डिक्शन का भी आप इन्वोक कर सकते हो। तो आप अपील और रिव्यू तो कर ही सकते हो, वो तो अभी आपके पास पावर है ही। अगर आर्टिकल 12 के एम्बिट में इसको आगे आ गया तो फिर क्या होगा, वैसे में आपको रिट जुरिस्डिक्शन को भी आपको फेस करना पड़ेगा, राइट। तो इसके कारण क्या होगा ना कि इतना ज़्यादा प्रेशर जजेस के ऊपर अगर आप क्रिएट कर दोगे तो वो अपने जो जुडिशियल फंक्शंस हैं उसको वो फ्रीली एक्सरसाइज नहीं कर पाएंगे, एंड देन ऑफ कोर्स इट वुड अफेक्ट द एंटायर जुडिशियल सिस्टम, राइट। Coming on to the second reason, if judiciary is included in Article 12, it will lead to multiplicity of cases. ये मैंने फर्स्ट आपको रीज़न में भी बता दिया। मल्टीप्लिसिटी ऑफ केसेस कैसे होंगे, मान लो कोई डिसीजन आया तो दो पावर्स आ जाएंगी। एक तो आपके पास अपील और रिव्यू की पावर ऑलरेडी है जो कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन और रेलेवेंट स्टैट्यूट्स ने दे रखी है, राइट। दूसरी पावर कैसे आ रही, रिट जुरिस्डिक्शन की। आप सेम मैटर अपील या रिव्यू में भी फाइल करोगे और सेम मैटर रिट में भी फाइल करोगे, तो सेम मैटर डिफरेंट कोर्ट्स या सेम कोर्ट्स या सेम जजेस जो हैं दो बार डिसाइड कर रहे होंगे या दो अलग अलग। उसके बाद फिर वो प्रॉब्लम आएगी विच विल प्रिवेल ओवर विच, राइट। तो इसीलिए ये सेकेंड रीजन है वाई इट शुड नॉट बी इंक्लूडेड अंडर आर्टिकल 12। थर्ड रीजन जो है, जो एक आर्ग्यूमेंट देते हैं लोग, यूएस कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन, यूएस में देर आर अ फ्यू केसेस जहाँ पे यूएस के जो सुप्रीम कोर्ट है, जो फेडरल सुप्रीम कोर्ट है उनका, उसने रिट पिटिशंस एक्सेप्ट किए हैं, राइट, रिट ऑफ सर्चरारी एक्सेप्ट किया है अगेंस्ट द डिसीजन ऑफ अ हाईएस्ट कोर्ट ऑफ अ पर्टिकुलर स्टेट। लेकिन यहाँ पे ना एक बहुत बड़ा एरोनियस कंपैरिजन है कि इंडिया में ऐसा एक्चुअली नहीं हो सकता है, उसका रीज़न कुछ और है। यूएस में ऐसा इसीलिए होता है बिकॉज वहाँ पे क्या है कि देर आर सर्टेन मैटर्स जहाँ पे स्टेट जुरिस्डिक्शन और फेडरल जुरिस्डिक्शन कंप्लीटली डिफरेंट है। सो वंस योर मैटर हैज़ बीन डिसाइडेड बाय द हाईएस्ट कोर्ट ऑफ योर पर्टिकुलर स्टेट, you have no remedy mentioned in any of the statute, neither in any of the statute nor in the US Constitution कि आप उसको US सुप्रीम कोर्ट में कैसे चैलेंज कर सकते हो। उसके बाद आपके पास कोई भी रेमेडी नहीं बचती है, राइट। तो आप वैसे में क्या कर सकते हो, वैसे में आप US कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन में एक इकलौती रेमेडी जो आपका प्रिंसिपल्स ऑफ नेचुरल जस्टिस और रूल ऑफ लॉ ने बना रखा है, दैट इज योर रिट जुरिस्डिक्शन। इसीलिए आप यूएस सुप्रीम कोर्ट में जाते हो अपने स्टेट के हाईएस्ट कोर्ट के डिसीजन को चैलेंज करने बाय वे ऑफ रिट। दे कैन नॉट, इन सम केसेस दे कैन नॉट फाइल एन अपील टू द यूएस सुप्रीम कोर्ट, दिस हैपेंस, राइट। हाउएवर दिस इज नॉट द केस इन इंडिया, बिकॉज इंडिया में जितने भी कोर्ट्स और ट्रिब्यूनल्स हैं, दे all their decisions and determinations are subject to appeal before the Supreme Court. In fact, Supreme Court की भी खुद के जो decisions हैं वो they are subject to review and curative jurisdictions, right? So these are the three reasons why why judiciary should not be brought under Article 12. I hope you liked this video. Please like, subscribe and subscribe to my channel and share my video. Also, if you want to contact me, you can write an email to me at nilaykumar.lawonnet@gmail.com, or you can directly DM me on my Instagram at law_by_nilaykumar. Right? You can also comment down below, give me some feedback, give me something that I can improve on, and if you want any particular video on a particular topic, you can please put it down in the comment box below, right? I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.